So if you're in Melbourne or Sydney, it's probably not a particularly unfamiliar sight for you. There's a building where all that's left is the front facade. Inside, everything's been gutted out, hollowed out, and there's some props holding it all together. So this is really a perfect metaphor for where we are as a people. At a cursory glance, oh yeah, everything looks okay. There's a wall there, some windows. But then, as we look a little deeper, we see, oh no, it's being propped up. There's nothing behind it, it's all been stripped out. Our mining, our forestry, our agriculture, our manufacturing, our fisheries. And we've just watched it being sold out from beneath our feet. So depending what position you occupy, this hollowing out is more or less obvious. A lot of folks that just receive their income from the state probably not aware of the foundation that's been gutted. The CommonWealth that's been sold out to foreign interests. But the government stands on the shoulder of the people. And you can't just keep taxing more and more when there's nothing to be taking that from. So the people that just looking at what's on the surface might think that everything's normal, everything's okay. But we can see a little more deeply. We can see there's nothing left. Right on cue. And if you took these props out, the whole thing would crumble. And that's what we're watching, I think. You know, all that's holding this together now is the force of inertia and the fear in people of actually addressing the elephant in the room, which is that there's nothing left behind the facade. It's all been taken, plundered. So if we take that gutted building as a metaphor for our commonwealth, or our common lack of wealth. What do we see is needed to rebuild? What's required? This is where I see almost everybody is seeking to just do some quick repairs. Oh, what if we paint it? What if we paint it this way? Or what if we fix the window panes? What if we just chuck these walls up? But nothing that's addressing the foundational issue or issues. What happened to allow this to become the state of our commonwealth? How did we get plundered? So it's not just a matter of rebuilding, it's a matter of working out how it come to this. And that is the first step, I think, in rebuilding, is to work out how it got destroyed. And these are the things that Steve talks about that just aren't comprehended. A debt sinking fund for 50 years, and them 1973 being put under administration as a bankrupt, just like a bankrupt company goes into administration. They appoint a nanny to take care of us. But then that nanny goes kind of rogue and starts selling off everything. So the nanny doesn't see those assets as ours. Sees them as theirs. So what kind of puzzles me is that these people still playing politics with no success to date. Can't see that they're building their houses on sand, and that those same forces. People have some comprehension of, whether it's World Economic Forum or it's the Vatican behind it all, international bankers. How do we even begin to address this? So if you want to, we keep working with that analogy of the building. If you want to rebuild, you need a team, be there a long time doing it by yourself. So you need a team, the way I see it, before anything. And in international law, that team might be called a people. The people have a right to self-determination. And it's a very important time for us. It's very late for us to be starting to look at this, because that usufruct, the use of the fruits, the administration, lasts 50 years. So 1973 plus 50, 2023. There's a lot happening. Charles going to be coronated. So what happens at the end of that usufruct, use of the fruits, is up to us partly. So if we know that they are our fruits being used, they're our walls that were taken down, our roof that was stripped off, sold off, our floors, our appliances, so what's a naked owner? I wish I had worked out that one sooner. But a people can say, who are you to administer our shit now? And that's why just the simple act of flying the 1901 for a red ensign is important, because it links to our history, to what our Anzac left us in stone, not on sand, in stone. What was administered? What was put under administration in the first place? What's your lineage? What's your heritage? Yeah, these are just, they're questions that people aren't asking, I think, because we're just running around like a bunch of individuals. Look over here, look what they're trying to do, smart cities. Look what they're trying to do, climate change and reducing carbon emissions. This is also terrible, running around like headless chickens rather than just being the people we are, and just standing as a people who know who they are. So flying the Federal Red Ensign tells people we know our history. We know what happened. We know they are our fruits. They're our walls that were taken down, our roof tiles. So I come back to the question of what theatre we're in, what laws are on the table. Hague and Geneva Conventions, international humanitarian law, because, yeah, we're at war. We've been at war our whole lives. We have an administrator that posed as our de jure government. Which I think might be a war crime in itself. But yeah, what is war? What is putting a people into debt, burdening them with the cost of warfare? So I mean, there's all sorts of things that we can do. Start to use silver or gold if you can. Stop, paying into this debt, which to me seems like the primary weapon in this war. Is the very money we used is a debt note, is increasing our poverty. And I think that it's going to start to hit home pretty soon, as that facade of a country or a nation state really starts to come down, and we're just left with what's behind it, which is a rubble, a wasteland. Where our fruits were. So it's us that need to change. The way I see it, we are part of the solution. Is what we can work with by our actions, our knowing who we are as a people, being that people, using or saving and holding real wealth, and then the other side, the other half of the equation, if we want to rebuild this Commonwealth, is holding the administrator accountable to the laws, the rules and customs that they are party to, treaties, international conventions, where they've broken many of the rules, many of the laws that are on the table. So how do we hold them accountable? It's a big question. But it's, it takes me back again to Stephen Spry's work, where everything he's done has not been addressing the broken glass in the windows, the chipped bricks, the paint. It's what is the foundation. And if you're just coming across this sort of information for the first time, if you dig, it will surprise you what's been laid in stone we haven't paid attention to. That, the way I see it, is our way out of this. It's not going to be quick. It's not going to be painless. But it defines certain things of law. It defines, whose fruits are being fought over. And if we can unforget, lest ye forget, if we can remember, we can be that people that rebuild our Commonwealth and inherit what our fathers left us.